So let's start with courtroom drama.
Out of 90 million ringgit between about July and August 2017, about 2 years prior. So you essentially you were expecting quite the opposite.
Yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Headlines. Now, it's that time again where I bring you the latest, most noteworthy stories that broke the past week. My name is Amalina Kamal, and I'm from the news desk. Here with me, of course, I have Hazwin Hassan, who is one of the news editor for NST. Thank you so much, Hazwin, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's always great to be back.
Yeah. I would also like to welcome our special guest, especially who's another reporter as well, Bilkis Bahari, who's from Business Times. Now, Bilkis, for those of you who want to know, she is an expert in aviation, or at least reporting in aviation, and she's here to share with us the details that went behind the whole MYAirline fiasco. Thank you so much, Bilkis.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We will be definitely going into MYAirlines in detail. But Hazwin, I think for as usual, we want to go through the round of updates when it comes to the development we see the past week. So let's start with courtroom drama. Courtroom drama, and particularly concerning the Penang undersea tunnel, right? So Hazwin?
Correct. Yes. So this happened yesterday. The Sessions Court in Kuala Lumpur heard from the director of the company that was awarded the contract of building the Penang undersea tunnel project, which was worth about 6.34 billion. It's still sort of in development. It's still progressing to some extent. But this goes all the way back to about 2016, 2017, when the project was first initiated. So yesterday in the court, what the court was told by Datuk Zarul, the company director, was that he had paid out 2 million ringgit each to two very prominent persons.
Two political heavyweights, right? And
Exactly.
one of it is our former Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Najib Razak, and the other one, of course, is Lim Guan Eng.
Correct. And both were sitting. Najib Razak was the sitting Prime Minister, and Lim Guan Eng, the sitting Penang Chief Minister at the time.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, if for our audience who want to know, this transpired, or at least this latest development transpired during cross-examination in Lim Guan Eng's trial. But of course, we want to know more, or at least I want to know more, Hazwin, apart from this new individual that actually, corroborated in terms of the bribe. Were there any other people who actually came out to highlight this?
So, yes, Datuk Zarul's testimony brought out a name, a G. Ganaraja.
Okay.
Right? He mentioned G. Ganaraja in his testimony yesterday in court as the middleman that he gave the monies to, the bribe monies to pay out to Lim Guan Eng and Najib Razak. So this isn't the first time that G. Ganaraja's name has surfaced. The first time was actually back in 2019. Now, the year before that, in July 2018, Datuk Zarul, Consortium Zenith Construction Sdn Bhad's director, confirmed then that the company had paid out about 22 million ringgit to two individuals, but he did not disclose the identities of those individuals. So now, cut to 2023, and we heard in court yesterday, the two individuals were obviously the then Prime Minister and the Penang Chief Minister. So it didn't end there. Now, the following year in 2019, that's when G. Ganaraja's name was brought up. And why he was brought up was because he was arrested by the MACC then for being charged with cheating Datuk Zarul's company, Consortium Zenith Construction Sdn Bhd, out of 90 million ringgit between about July and August 2017, about 2 years prior. So this testimony by Datuk Zarul and the details that we heard in court yesterday, a lot of it actually isn't anything new or isn't news in particular, but it is, however, the bombshell that dropped was the two names that were mentioned. And the bribe payout to these two politicians, these very prominent persons.
Right. So now this actually also added another layer of intrigue to an already high-stake legal drama, if I may add. Of course, we will be tuning into the developments on that. Now, another headline that was also trending was the declassification of the Batang Kali landslide report. Now, this particular report entailed, or at least specified, that no human activity, human activity was not the cause for the particular tragedy which occurred in December last year. Now, this particular tragedy also claimed the lives of 31 individuals, which was actually a dark period in Malaysian history. After the Highland Towers tragedy, actually. So, in that particular report, or following that particular report, the Works Ministry pledged that they will be utilizing the budget that was allocated to them, that's about 9.51 billion ringgit, to, or at least a fraction of that, to help in improving facilities for preventive measures lah. Also installing early warning systems to avoid or curb future events such as this.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask, looking at it from an environmental perspective, is it enough in terms of putting a closure to this particular case?
I think it goes without saying that there are indeed areas where they are high risk, as proven in the case of the Batang Kali landslide. And this just means that the government has to step up. I mean, obviously, you would have to be prepared for things like this when you have areas that are very prone to natural disasters. And in the recent landslide, it claimed 31 lives, and even
Right.
Even with the forensic report now being out, has been
Right.
published, there are still people who don't find closure from it, and understandably so, because obviously this is there are a lot of things to be disputed here, and
Right.
namely, as I think,
Yeah, I just want to bring attention to our audience because one particular survivor did speak to our reporter and saying that that report didn't bring any closure at all, because in that same forensic report, the land status was also highlighted. So the planning permissions, or the chronology of the planning permissions, was also disclosed. So in that, just to briefly share, it was it was land meant for agriculture, but eventually it turned into, for development. Now, the planning permission started since 2006, and then it went back and forth between multiple entities and everything. But eventually, 2019, it got the approval to be developed as a resort. So at least this particular survivor is saying that, we're talking all about the environmental impact here, but he's also calling for the government to look into how they manage land status and how they manage planning permission. So I feel like this is something that should be followed through by whoever is involved, or at least the authorities are looking at this investigation closely.
absolutely,
Yeah. And this is only to remember those who perished. To look into how we can fully give closure to those affected.
yes.
Anyway, that's just on the Batang Kali. Now we want to go into MYAirline's fiasco. Bilkis, we know the developments from your reports, obviously, but we want to know, when the whole MYAirline's drama came about, how did it came to you? What was the rush behind it?
Well, it's like a snowball effect, actually. So on October 9, I wrote a story on the resignation of Rainer Teo.
The ex-CEO.
So the ex-CEO. Well, my contact, I had called and told, the former CEO had resigned. But before the former CEO resigned, there were also the former CFO and chief commercial officer who resigned as well. So there were a number of top executives who had resigned. And then on October 11, I wrote a story on MYAirline is close to securing a new investor.
Yeah,
so
that white knight, right, that we've been...
Yes. So this white knight was supposed to, help save the airline, because they said they don't have money anymore. They've been paying salaries quite late.
Yeah, also in the report.
And they've been for September and October, I think they still haven't paid yet. And then on October 12th at 5:36 a.m., I still remember this. I woke up at 5 a.m. because I had missed calls. I checked my phone. I was told that there will be an announcement. So then I couldn't sleep because I was like, okay, what is this announcement? Because actually I was waiting. The so-called White Knight was supposed to sign the deal
That day as
that
well?
night.
Mhm.
The
Night
night
before,
before.
I see.
Yeah, so I was actually waiting for news on that. And until 11 p.m., nobody said anything. I couldn't contact anyone.
Right.
So I thought, okay, maybe it didn't happen. But, you know, how could one... Okay, again. It's really bizarre that an airline would just all of a sudden suspend its operations
Out of the blue, right?
yeah, out of the blue in the wee hour of the morning, you know,
Right.
because 5:36 they sent the press release. I heard the email coming in. So then I was like, what?
Right.
So I wrote the story in bed and then I was calling my editors to tell them, you know,
Right.
what's going on. And also, of course, because I
So
want...
you essentially you were expecting quite the opposite.
Yes. So I thought that, okay, maybe this so-called White Knight would actually invest. But at the time when I talked to people in the industry, other airline CEOs, aviation analysts, so they were saying that this is most likely, the deal will most likely not happen because, okay, I will quote what one airline CEO told me. Airline business, everybody thinks that airline business is sexy until they get into it. Then they realize that it burns money every day. So it's a very tough business. And imagine for MYAirline, right, with their business model, low-cost business model, they want to take on, as we all know, AirAsia.
Right.
AirAsia has over 100 aircraft. And they've been in the industry for so long, and they capture the market, not just in Malaysia, but the whole Southeast Asia. And you have this newbie coming in, MYAirline, with 9 aircraft. They were utilizing 5 or 6 of it. And then they want to offer affordable
Yeah.
price. Imagine how could they even make money when they sell, let's say for example, KL Miri return for 60 ringgit.
Right.
Even for us, when we want to travel, we take the ERL from KL Central to
It costs
KLIA.
about, yeah.
It's 55 ringgit
About
one
the
way.
same.
Correct.
Yeah,
About
so
the same price for
No,
yes.
also
yeah.
it's quite surprising for me to know you're saying that MYAirlines only had 9 fleets, 9
Yes.
aircrafts. So how many trips are they doing just to accommodate the need of that particular destination, right?
That's the question. So they have to utilize the aircraft all the time. But the thing is that, of course, a few months ago, the then CEO Rene Teo said that by the end of 2023, they plan to have 20 aircraft. But of
Okay.
course, you know, as we all know, it didn't materialize.
Unfortunately.
And the aircraft lessors have asked for them to return the aircraft. Understandable, because they're using the Airbus A320. It's a narrow body aircraft and it's very hot in the market right now. And AirAsia has said that they want to take up a few of this aircraft because they are also in need of airplanes.
Yeah.
So the future, the question is what, you
Still
know,
the status, right?
Yeah, what is the status of MYAirline now?
Oh, I mean, mind you, there are still employees employed there, you know. So and they probably are still waiting for what's the next step here. Any updates or developments from that, at least on the staff level?
Well, as of now, there's no new updates on MYAirline. The last update was on October 16 when they held the press conference. The interim accountable manager, Dato' Sri Azharuddin Abdul Rahman, so he said that they're actively seeking investors. So on that day, I remember I asked him, where is Dato Elengo, the owner of MYAirline?
Prior to the arrest.
Prior to
Prior
the
to the
rest,
arrest.
yes.
Yes.
And
Okay.
he said that Dato Elengo is busy talking to investors. And the next day, news came out that,
Operations.
you know, Dato Elengo was arrested.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Hazwi, I think you want to share a little bit about the arrest, right? So at least our audience is able to catch up.
Right. So, in relation to the MYAirline co-founder's arrest, Goh Huan Hua, which, if you remember from being reported last week, he was arrested with his wife and son, right? And they are being investigated by police under the AMLA Act, which is short for Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities. So he's essentially connected to money laundering now, and the police are really blowing this case wide open because they are looking into even the finances that he had he had access to, and how he funded the company even before the starting of the business, the airline business.
The question of, how can this particular businessman with this sort of financial health be able to start a new business with a new permit? I suppose new applications were done. Like, okay, my question, or probably, husband, do you have anything else you want to update to that?
I just wanted to add that following his arrest, following the co-founder's arrest and his wife and son, just yesterday, another arrest was made in connection to the case. And this time it's a businessman, a male suspect, who was arrested at his home in Bangsa. And he was arrested in the early hours of Monday morning yesterday. And the CCID, Bukit Aman Commercial Crime Investigation Department, they've seized 12 vehicles from this suspect, and another one that wasn't mentioned in their statement. But 12 vehicles, documents related to a company called iServe Technology and Vacations in their Berhad, 6 luxury watches, 8 luxury handbags, 2 laptops, 1 CPU, and 10 pieces of jewelry. Now, that's not even the interesting part. The interesting part here is that the police in their statement, they've said that the investigation is ongoing. As far as I understand, Goh Huan Hua, the co-founder, is still under remand, but his remand is about to expire, I think, on Thursday, so it will be released after that. But now from what they've seized from the latest suspect in this case, they are saying that they are focusing on reviewing essential documents in the iServe business transactions. So from what I understand based on police statement is that a lot of these business transactions that was done through iServe Technology and Vacations in Berhad was directly related to the funding, I guess, or the operations of MYAirline as an airline business. So could you just unpack more on that? Because for me, it leaves me with more questions than answers.
Yeah, and the question that I wanted to ask is like, how can someone with that kind of financial health open an airline business so easily?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the other thing.
Exactly my question to the Transport Minister, Anthony Loke, yesterday.
Right.
So in Malaysia, right, if you want to register an airline, a scheduled commercial airline, you need 2 licenses. One is the Air Operator Certificate, AOC, given by the Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia, CAM. And the second is the ASL, Air Service License, given by the Malaysian Aviation Commission, MAVCOM. So first, the company or the airline would need to go to MAVCOM to obtain the conditional ASL. So MAVCOM is responsible to oversee the company's business plan. So that is where they would, review, analyze. They will ask questions. Right. How are you going to make sure that this business is sustainable? Because airline is a regulated industry, and it's not like, for example, we open a pisang
it's not like
goreng shop.
Alibaba lah.
Yeah. So it's not like we open
as one would expect.
Exactly.
You're dealing with people's lives here.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not just, like you said, if once they cancel the flights, like what happened on October 12th, it affected some 125,000 people.
Imagine
so
that.
this part of the process of giving the conditional ASL, there's this thing called MAVCOM's Fit and Proper Person Guideline. So where they see whether the accountable persons which means the owner, the shareholders, the board of directors, the top executives
Right.
fit the guideline that they provided in this fit and proper person. So under this, okay, let me just quote you, yeah. In this guideline, right, MAFCOM will, quote, assess the fitness and propriety of a person in the following areas: probity, reputation and integrity, competency and capability, and financial integrity. The Commission will also look into past behavior as an insight into a person's future conduct. So
right.
that was why yesterday when I asked our Transport Minister Anthony Loke, how is it that my airline was given the conditional ASL? So he said that, the ministry is currently investigating on, how my airline obtained
Right.
that ASL.
I mean, okay, I want to understand the term here, conditional ASL. Maybe there were certain conditions that were set, and then probably this individual had
So-
to deliver within this.
I mean, the conditional ASL means that MAFCOM has already go through the business plan, so there is a solid business plan.
Okay.
And then once the airline or the company is given the conditional ASL, then they go to CAM to apply for the AOC. So once they get the AOC, because CAM overlooks the technical aspect of the airline. So for example, their aircraft, how many aircraft they want to use, the spare parts that they need, because they need to have all this in plan, because once the aircraft need maintenance, they can't just
Yes.
send to any workshop. They need to have a certain number of spare parts, right? And they need to have instructors. They need to send their pilots and crews for training. So these are all the technical aspects that CAM looks into. Because in Malaysia, what is unique about Malaysia's aviation industry is that
Is it so
we
different
have-
than
no,
any
we
other?
have two aviation regulators.
Oh, okay.
So most other countries, they only have one. So we have two.
Right.
But now with the whole streamlining, they're centralizing, right? So
Well, that was what the transport minister said yesterday as
Right.
well. He wants to, absorb MAFCOM into
CAM.
CAM and make it as one. But that will be probably by next year.
oh, okay, I see. But I think a lot of especially people who is for CAM or for aviation, I think they would see that as a positive move. I suppose. I don't know.
What do
I-
you think? Yeah.
I'm not sure as well, but I don't know, maybe more work. But the thing is, it was in 2015 or 16, if I'm not mistaken, that they took out this so-called portion, the commercial and the commercial portion of then DCA, Department of
Right.
Civil Aviation, and created MAFCOM. Then they have CAM and MAFCOM. So now they want to merge it into one, into CAM. So I think it will not change
Much.
much.
see.
It's just that the people from MAFCOM will, then be under CAM.
I mean, suffice to say, is it because it's to ensure that communications are more streamlined because of the whole incident? We have this question whereby, like, okay, who do we turn to when another MYAirline's drama happens, right?
I think the Minister Loke has said in 2019 that he wanted to
Do away?
to merge MAFCOM
Merge.
and CAM together.
So this has
Just to have
been
one.
I mean,
this has been in thought up and planned for
Yes,
quite
yes.
some time.
So it
right?
didn't happen because of MYAirline. So he announced it already in 2019.
Right.
And then they had, the government change and all that stuff. So now he's back as the
Right.
transport minister. So that is one of
just-
his agendas.
right. I suppose he's just trying to exercise that again. Okay, two questions from this because we gotta wrap up soon. One is that because we were speaking about transport minister, right, Anthony Loke. Do you think when the transport ministry came in, it was already too late? Was it already too late?
Most likely, because at that time my airline has already been operating. So the question now is that should we have more airlines in Malaysia, because our market is very small, 30 to 33 million, and we already have giants like Malaysia Airlines, Air Asia, Batik Air Malaysia. So do we need more airlines to, they say competition is healthy, but we've seen what happened to my airline and Rayani.
Right.
Or do we need to support these three airlines, Malaysia Airlines, Air Asia, and Batik Air Malaysia, so that they can fly to more destinations, they can have more aircraft, and they can offer, better prices to the passengers instead of having newbie. And then they compete with each other.
And failing.
Yeah, and then one fail, and it
Yeah.
affect like my airline. It affected 125,000
Yeah.
people.
So the 125,000 ticket holders, they will never receive a refund? Is that
Well, what MAVCOM has said is that my airline must refund these passengers.
right?
But the question is this: how do they refund when there's no money?
There's no money. Correct.
True. I mean, true enough. Yeah, that's true. Okay, last question is like, okay, considerations, stopgap measures. Like, did you manage to speak to any other expert in terms of like how to curb this? Probably a simple case is that just look at the financial record. Whoever is going to start up another aviation or airline company, right? But were there any solid stopgap measures that were recommended?
Okay, so I've talked to a few local Malaysian-based airline CEOs, and also a very prominent aviation analyst. So what they all said is the same thing. Like what I mentioned earlier, should Malaysia
Have more
airline
companies.
airlines, or should we support the ones that we have now?
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, and then what is the goal of Malaysia in terms of aviation? Do we want to be, a strong international hub? So there needs to be a plan, there needs to be a goal, and everyone working towards that goal
Right.
together. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because everything's like a bit. It seems to me like each company has their own dreams and vision, right? But that's not necessarily helping the entire industry out. Okay, so the disconnect is there. The drama is still there. Apparently the latest to the MYAirline fiasco is that at least MACC's chief commissioner, Tan Sri Zambaki, was saying that right now the investigation still remains under police jurisdiction until further notice. So we're definitely going to be tuning in and following the developments closely for MYAirlines. Hazwin, do you have anything else?
Just one
Yeah.
one last question. How bad is it gonna get? Like, it's one arrest after another, and look at all the things that have been seized by police. You've got luxury handbags and what have you, basically jewelry, luxury watches.
And the implication
And-
goes to the family as well, right?
Exactly.
It's not just the CEO.
And
it
then now
extends to anak.
the co-founder being investigated for money laundering under the investigation is under the anti-money
Amla.
laundering act. How much worse can this get? Have we hit rock bottom, or is there something?
I think there's more to come.
As simple as that.
In terms of the company itself, right?
Yeah.
Their ASL, they didn't renew their ASL, even though during the PC, Datuk Sri Azharuddin said they are in the process of renewing it. Their ASL will expire on November 14, but they're not operating right now, and their AOC was already suspended for 90 days, pending investigation by CAM. So I think, this is just my view, if nothing were to happen within this 90 days, then it seems like there's no more future. And plus the company, if let's say they continue to operate without a new investor to November, December, they still need to pay salaries,
Staff.
right?
Yeah, that's
That is
true.
true.
Yeah.
More and more problems for them to deal with, right? Anyway, Thank you so much. That's the end of the show. Thank you so much, Bilkis. Thank you, Hazwin. We
Thank you
will
for having
definitely
me.
be
Thank
seeing
Thank you, Bilkis, for
you
coming
guys.
over. Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you.
But we will definitely be seeing you guys more after this every week. If you like this particular episode, please like, subscribe, comment to give suggestions on what particular topic we're supposed to look into as well. I hope this is not the last time I'll be seeing you also, Bilkis. Anything, not
I
just,
hope so.
not just about my airlines, like anything that you cover, we'll
Yeah.
bring on. Thank you so much to our audience back at home. See you next week. Interesting.
Great. I think that was a good.
That was a good one.
That was a good
Yeah.
recording,
Thank you,
I,
guys.
yeah, I like that you highlighted a